Well, hello, library people, library fans, book lovers. Today we're playing the Great Gatsby, which is I don't even know how to describe this. It's a fan game that somebody made, a homebrew, if you will, where I guess you play as Nick Carraway and you play through, in theory, the plot of The Great Gatsby, the classic F. Scott Fitzgerald novel from 1920-something. I thought I would play through this and kind of, we could talk about it in terms of, oh no, there's a lot of book to movie, right? But there's not as much book to video game. And right off the bat, it sure is different. I don't really recall. It's been a minute since I read this book. That looks like who's Ulysses guy? It's a bona fide piece of printed matter. It fooled me. This fella's a regular Belasco. It's a triumph. What thoroughness. What realism. Knew when to stop too. Didn't cut the pages. Look for Gatsby in the garden. Okay, so now I'm supposed to find Gatsby. It says in my upper left-hand corner. Anyway, of course I don't really recall fighting. There wasn't a lot of action of this sort in Gatsby as I remember it, but it's been a while. Whenever you see a jet of water like this in a game, you have to ask yourself, is this going to hurt me? Oh, that was like a flapper lady. I think I'm throwing my hat, my hat, that seems to be flying back and forth. Oh, and I have $39, $40, which I suppose in 1920s money is probably a fair amount. I will give this game some credit right off the bat. So back in, the NES days, which is kind of where this is coming from, if you were making a game based on a property, usually a movie, this is the kind of game you would make. Some kind of platformer that really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the game. Going into even the mid to late 90s, this was sort of the way of things. Good job, old sport. Yes, that's Gatsby. Oh, we did it. If you... Sorry, there's a cutscene. I tried to come up with some criteria on which to judge the game. Not so much as a game, but as a, manifestation of a book. As I don't know what you would call that. A new version of a book. Okay. I probably should have refamiliarized myself a little more with the book. But, one of the criteria I came up with was, could you play the game in lieu of reading the book? Let's say, you're in high school, which is when a lot of people read Great Gatsby, and you have to read it and do a book report or whatever. Would this work? I would probably advise against it. Oh man. I fell off a train. I would advise against it thus far because, boy, I don't think it's gonna work. I don't think that, when you're talking about... Yeah, there's that part where Nick Carraway was fighting birds on a train by throwing his hat like a boomerang. I don't think that's gonna work out for you. Don't think your teacher's gonna accept that. Which, it does bring up something that, I do like to talk about is... Oh, that's the same exact spot, too. Oh no. Do you think there's continues in this game, or will I have to begin all over again? I have my suspicion that I'll have to begin again because this era of game. I think I'm just going to leave the sack of money where it is. Oh, I got an extra life. Okay, so if you get $100, extra life. Very Mario kind of setup there, huh? Nick Carraway, amazing jumper. I could have forgiven this game if he was not so now I want to get it. Boy, I think that was like $5 or something. Is that all that was in that sack? $5 seems like a small amount of money to warrant an entire sack, especially one with a $ painted on it. Oh, is it boss time? Wait, I almost fell off the screen, I think. Ah! A giant pair of glasses. Yeah, so if you went to your teacher and said, oh, remember that part? My favorite part was probably when Nick Carraway fights a giant pair of glasses on top of a train. I think that probably wouldn't work out for you. New York City. When people say they miss the old grungy New York City, I feel like they don't probably go back quite as far as this. How do I get down there? Oh. 2-bit? People in New York probably would have something to say about that. Jump down a sewer. My big question with this game. So the book, as alluded to earlier, James Joyce, by I think a character who maybe is supposed to be James Joyce, but I'm not sure. But something about the book The Great Gatsby that I think is admittedly quite appealing is that it's pretty short. It doesn't overstay its welcome. So how long could a game based on a novel of that length possibly be? I mean, the answer is, of course, it could be quite long. Ah, sewers. Any viewers of Civvy 11 know that, for some reason, so many games involve a sojourn into the sewers. There's like so much happening in the sewers in video games. I blame the Ninja Turtles. I feel like they started this idea of like, you could like have a layer in the sewers. It's like, people who work in like plumbing or whatever must be like, you know, I don't know, man. If I had my choices, a pipe that's slightly larger than my body that could completely fill with sewage at any moment. Not my first choice. So I do think as a librarian, okay, and English major, it's kind of weird that we have high school students read The Great Gatsby. It's how I feel about a lot of classics, which is honestly, they're really good. However, I think that like a lot of students would get a lot more out of them if they read them a little later in life, as opposed to reading them in high school. I read Huckleberry Finn like in college in an American Lit class, and I loved it. But as I was reading it, I was thinking I would have hated this in high school. Gulliver's Travels, kind of the same thing. It was pretty interesting, pretty good. But I think I would have hated it. Oh no! The accident. Ah! West Egg Beach is a hilarious name for a beach, by the way. Not super appealing. Sometimes I think, though, that, you know, if I came across a beach and I was like, I'm going to make a beach community here. This seems like a good place, somehow undiscovered up to this point. I would give it an unappealing name. Because I would want people looking at a map or something to be like, you know. Or like maybe it would keep out your Selling Sunset types because they're like, you know what? I'm going to live on a beach. I don't want to have to tell people I live on, you know, I don't know, Fresh Kills Beach, whatever. It's like, I don't know, that doesn't sound so hot. This is getting a little more challenging. Another criteria I had was like, oh, this is like the end of Castlevania, referencing another game. That's fun. I like that. Oh, Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgastic future that year by year recedes before us. It eluded us then, but that's no matter. Tomorrow we will run faster, stretch out our arms farther, and one fine morning. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. Oh, there you go. I guess that's the end of the game. Well, that was quick. Fun game. By the way, makers of the game, nice job. I like the story. Shared by M. Suzuki and F. Scott Fitzgerald, of course. So, yeah, one of the other categories I thought of was, does knowledge of the book help you in the game? In other words, is it like, you know, if you'd read the book, you would know what you were doing, and it helps you at some point? To my knowledge, from what I've seen here, it doesn't seem like it helps you in the game. But, you know, who's to say, really? The end. Congratulations. Thank you for play. Hey, you're welcome. So, Great Gatsby, as far as a game. Well, I would say it captures some of the visual aesthetic that you would think would be present in a Great Gatsby adaptation. It does keep the brevity in check. It does have cutscenes with some of the major events of the book, but overall, no, I would not suggest doing this instead of reading the book. However, you could play this while listening to the audiobook, and that might make it so the events stick in your mind a little more. So when your teacher asks you a question, you know, like we used to have this question, this teacher who would say, in the things they carried, would give a quiz that was like, how much did this item weigh? You know, because that's mentioned in the book, which I was like, A, I feel like you're missing the entire point. But B, is that really like a good way to check if someone's read a book and understood it? Those fine of details? But maybe this game would help you cement some of those details because you'd have a, I don't know, visual, tactile sort of experience to go along with reading the book. That's about the best I could do there. Does reading the book beforehand help you? Not really. I mean, I don't know, maybe? I guess I didn't. It's been a long time since I've read it. But, you know, there was no, like, quiz, right? That was like, and then what happened? Or you have to make a choice, and it's like it continues or ends the book. None of that happens. But, you know, overall a good time. And does capture some of the feel of Gatsby, at least in terms of brevity and, you know, some of the outfits. Outfits, 10 out of 10. All right, well, we'll see you next time we can come across a game based on a book. If you've got any suggestions, put them in the comments.